근데 요즘 폐 안 만지세요?
내가 지금 끼워 죽었어?
아, 이거 아닙니다. 쌉소리를
이런 씹새끼들 그냥 다 죽었어.
오지마. 그래 나 때렸어. 이거 깽값이야. 어? 덤벼는 좋은데 니네 몇 명이야? 5명? 니들 중에 두 새끼 나한테 뒤질 줄 알아. 어? 특히 너. 어?
쇠사슬,
아, 예.
너 나한테 빚이 얼마니?
623만 원 정도 됩니다.
웃든 걸로 하고 저 갓나 새끼 그냥 보내라.
아, 모르는 놈한테 왜 그러세요?
모르긴 왜 몰라, 잘 알지. 갈 때까지 간 놈.
This is Getting Past Subtitles. My name is Sean Pyeong,
And I'm DK Lee.
and welcome to gambling.
Gambling, just gambling.
Welcome to the darkest timeline.
The darkest timeline.
We've hit rock bottom, and we're in debt, and we need to get ourselves out. So the best way to do that is just throw more money.
Yeah,
Hope
money
you-
makes money, right?
Money makes more money. Money talks, right? Money makes the world go round.
Maybe.
No, we're doing a new series. It's all about gambling / games, and I do have to say, this first movie really felt in the theme. It really put me like in the mood of, you know.
Well, this was the movie that I thought about when I first thought about the theme for this series. So yeah, it should be the perfect movie to encapsulate it. Everything else after this one was an afterthought of like, how do we get a series together?
Right.
Actually, there is like a sequel and another sequel after.
Yeah.
So there's also like a drama
Right.
that's based off this movie.
Mm.
So yeah, they really loved this movie.
They
and
milked.
They milked
They
it.
milked the series of
And I
Tazza.
think they're gonna continue to milk it.
Seriously?
I don't know. I'm
Oh,
sure
maybe,
they will.
maybe,
Somebody
yeah.
will.
We're in the era of like rebooting old stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, this was the first one to come out, and I think for the time, like in the Korean movie space,
Mm.
it was quite refreshing. Like
Okay.
to see like this kind of movie, 'cause you don't see it much. You didn't see it much in Korea, too much at least. There was actually another drama that was based on gambling, but that was more like traditional, like playing cards kind of thing.
Okay.
Not even. It was a lot of like gambling and like political kind of things going on in the drama.
Yeah.
That was also popular, but this one, this movie probably was like the big movie that kind of put that genre in its place.
Right.
In
They put
Korea.
a spotlight on like this particular genre of
Yeah.
movie. Right. What was like? I was gonna say what was like more prominent before that, but I guess like romance and like comedies, right?
I mean, a lot of different movies, you know, like
Mm.
back then, even thrillers and all of that.
Crime. You and your gangster movies.
Gangster movies, romance, drama movies.
Yeah. It's I don't know, like this movie doesn't feel. I mean, it's a little dated, but it does it really well.
Mm.
Like doing the gambling, like heist kind of genre.
Yeah.
Like it really. When I was watching it, like I think the key word is, I mean, it's very like comical, in a way, right? Like it really plays to the genre, really, like really strong, but also pretty good. But and like So much so that in some parts it's just like comical. Like they really go at it.
Yeah.
As far as like when they do like hand signs or like they, to represent like different tactics and like ways to cheat in the game, right? And sometimes like it's supposed to be sly and like smooth, but there are moments in this movie where it's like that's so obvious. Like they didn't even try to kind of hide it,
Yeah.
But that adds to kind of the comical aspect of it in a way.
Yeah. Also, it's also to make it more obvious to the audience, I think.
Right.
There's a lot of times when you watch movies like this that involve like a game or something like that, sometimes it's hard for the audience to follow exactly the rules and everything within the game, unless they already know it. So like having to have the audience understand it even without having prior knowledge of the game is very important,
Right.
for a movie like this, because a lot of times the payoff is the sleight of hand, right? Is that thing. But if you don't understand what's going on, then you're kind of losing the point of the movie.
Right.
And so it's kind of important that it's obvious, so that the audience can know what's going on. But obviously, like if it happens in real life, it's a lot more subtle.
Right.
Yeah. Ironically, though, I feel like, like I just said there was like a sequel and another sequel after that.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic that the movies don't really evolve from this one to the other ones.
Gotcha.
And I think the reason why is they can only do so much with the ending of it, like the climax of it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's always going to be, the main character is in a predicament where he has this last big gamble that he has to do.
I owe money,
And,
or I need to
and
get
it's
money.
always going to be that he tricks the big bad dude, right?
Yeah.
And it always ends like that. You know what I mean? There's never really like a twist
Like a
that
variance,
they
yeah.
really like changes what happens.
Mm.
Especially in the other two movies that come after this. And so it's kind of disappointing in that sense, where it's like they really don't have anything else to make it a little bit more interesting for the
Right.
next movies. A lot of times it kind of just carries on the name of this movie, of this
Okay.
franchise, and they just
Copy and paste.
yeah, they copy and paste, but they just introduce like new like rising stars, or like new famous stars that are hot during that time, and they
Right.
incorporate them into the movie, and that's kind of like their thing now
Yeah.
for this movie, which is kind of sad, because I feel like this movie, the first one, was very first of all, it's very kind of in one way not necessarily grounded, but it feels very like of the streets, right? And
Yeah.
it just feels kind of like
Yeah.
it's something that like kind of
Could go on.
right?
Right.
But I feel like it kind of becomes more and more manufactured as the movies go on.
Yeah, right.
Like there's a certain kind of charm to this movie.
Yeah.
Like that dirty, gritty, like not gritty, but like grimy,
Right. Yeah.
like feeling to the movie.
It's very,
Whereas
like,
I feel like
grifty,
the other two feels a lot more like kind of nice and packaged, and then it doesn't have the same like griminess to it that
Okay.
really makes this movie like have its charm.
It's not, I mean, it just sounds like it's become like Fast and the Furious kind of, right?
yeah.
Where it just ends up becoming a little
But
more.
at least like Fast and Furious, like there's just more and more crazy crap going on, right?
Right.
Like you're like, this would never have happened in Fast and Furious 1,
Yeah.
right?
They just at the point they embraced
The craziness.
yeah.
Whereas I feel like in this one, it's just kind of always the same. The
Gotcha.
formula is always the same,
Mhm.
and then they really don't like push the boundaries of that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely agree with that though, because I had that thought too, in the sense that, both parts, that the movie does have a nice weird balance between kind of being grounded yet not grounded,
yeah.
where like it like obviously, just like I said, like it's the comical feeling of it that kind of takes it far from reality.
Yeah.
With like we talked about kind of like the characters' names and like even just the characters themselves are very kind of like archetypey in a way, right? And like I said, like it all just kind of adds a flavor and like a charm to a movie, which is good. Like, you know, it is a movie at the end of the day, but like it also does a nice balance of like setting it in a kind of like semi world where like it just like paints this picture of like a world that you wouldn't see, right?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say it's grounded. I would say it's like just like that grimy, like dirty underworld kind of
right.
like feeling that you get from the movie, which you don't get from the other movies. I feel like like it kind of tries to do that, but I feel like this movie really did it well.
It feels a little darker,
especially like all of the like side stuff that goes on within the gambling house. It's like, you know, like the moment with the prostitute and stuff, like those kind of stuff just makes it like so much more like just
like this is the world that it is.
Just like a dirty, grimy, like, you know, kind of place where like everything goes on, right?
Yeah.
And like, you know, like those tents that they go into for the gambling stuff, like that. Yeah. They're like in this little like weird like hill, and
you
like
never know like where
you don't know where it is, but it's like some tent that they have in the forest. And like all these people come in and they like bet on, like they all bet, and when the police start coming, they just literally just rip the tent and just leave and walk down the hill. Like it's so like
I love that beginning where it's like a huge like kind of tent or like shack on a hill.
Yeah.
And there's like it looks like hundreds of like people that are gambling, and it's just like a well-organized
but so like dirty,
but still
feeling,
like
right? Like, just like but so messy.
But they're like escorting all the people out. Like there's a weird like organization.
It's like a chaotic order that they have to that
it's so
to
funny.
that madness.
Also, what like adds is I love when they have, because you're always like inside, right, and like you kind of get the feel like they all kind of look the same, like grimy or like very shacky or like they're in some like abandoned warehouse kind of deal. But then as soon as I step outside, it's like broad daylight, like it's a normal day.
It's always daytime.
It adds
almost always daytime.
It adds to that like weird elusiveness of
it's like that thing where, you know, when you go to a casino, like they never have windows, they don't have the time because they want you just, you know, constantly spending, and they don't want you to see. And I think even the madam, she like says it too. She's like cover all the windows. Like, do you want to have these people like gambling to the sun rising, right? Like you don't want that,
right?
In that kind of gambling setting. So yeah, I think it really kind of makes sense. Like every time you come out, it's just broad daylight.
You're like
I've been gambling the whole day. It's like the next day.
How long has it been? Has it been like days or weeks?
It's just another day.
I think I should call my wife.
Yeah.
What's going on? But yeah, but that all kinds of adds to it. Yeah, it has a really nice like just that kind of even like that indie movie kind of vibe to it as well. That it's really well made. I did feel too that kind of what he said about the sequels. I definitely questioned how did they put 2 more movies after this, because it feels such a one-off movie.
Yeah,
and I was like, I mean, there are some couple of like loose
called money.
Threads. This is true.
It's called Let Me Make Some More Money.
What pulls me back?
I think I forget if it was the sequel, but I think the sequel is the one where it's Goni, the main character's like nephew or something like that, who you know takes up, you know, becoming a professional gambler.
There's no nephew in this movie though.
No. So you can see how
they're just like
we gotta write something out.
We gotta he didn't have a nephew. We'll give him one. Yeah, we'll do that. All in all, I think this movie was pretty good. It's really entertaining.
Your first watch, right?
My first watch for Tazza. I really liked it. I really like it came down to I was watching it and like the beginning was like okay, but I wasn't really hooked until like about the third way in, where because it's like set in a present day, and then we kind of have like the false narrative situation, and then we go into like a really long like flashback, and then that kind of sets up back to the present day with like kind of like the real story, like the real goal.
What's going on?
Yeah. So once we get to the flashback and he starts, and Goni's training under Pyeong.
Yeah.
That's where I got really hooked more in, and I think the story became a lot more engaging. But then it kind of plateaus and kind of teeters a little bit by the end. But it was an interesting relationship that I had with the movie. Like I was saying earlier, there was quite a few things that I think I was a little convoluted about, or like I thought it was one way, but then when I went back to kind of like review, like it was a different way. And I just found myself, I think, letting go of like trying to pay attention to to like the threads and everything, and just kind of experiencing the movie. And yeah, I think the movie is better when you just kind of shut off your brain and kind of watch it, you know?
Yeah, there is a lot of moving parts to the movie, especially when you're watching it through subtitles.
Right.
And I think the movie is fairly long too. It's 2 hours and like 20 something
It's long,
minutes.
yeah.
And there's a lot of moving pieces, and sometimes I wonder like maybe they could have cut it down a bit
For
and
sure.
made it a little bit more concise.
Well, here's my biggest thing, I think, with that is Madam Jung, where I can see like she's vital to the story, or like, you know, for Goni, she like kind of is obsessed with him and like takes him under her wing, and then, you know, they have that whole arc. But then like after she comes out of prison, she has a whole like side story with the other guy, right?
With who?
With Hoku, who's like the rich guy, right? Like she gets kind of like the orders right after. And we spent a lot of time with her basically like, I was like, how does that connect to the grander scheme of it? And it kind of doesn't. Like, we're just watching her do her job.
Well, she's trying to set up something. Yeah, basically she's trying to, you know, get more money, right?
Right.
But then later on what happens is basically Aki, the guy, the big baddie, he kind of wants to
In on
have
the money.
and he wants to have, you know, he wants to have a meeting with Goni.
Right.
And so he uses that dude and that, you know, gambling meeting as an excuse to have him come in.
But it was like, it's so situational though.
Yeah.
You know? So it's
very specific,
Yeah, exactly. Like it.
And what was happening was madam wanted to have Goni as the Tazza there.
Right.
She wanted him as the as a professional gambler there. But then, you know, he was doing his own thing.
Yeah, he was
trying to be a good boy.
But then she ended up with the other guy instead, because everything went to shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, like it all connects by the end, like all because they're like separate pieces, and then they all like by situation or chance kind of connect, and then it draws back Goni to that table.
Yeah.
But it's like it's just situational, and it didn't really like for me. I was like, because in my mind, I thought Jung was doing it to track down Goni again, because like she had lost him after her operation like shut down, and then he was gonna go after Akui basically. So I thought she was like doing this whole thing to like get him back. Seemed like her motivation, but then I realized that wasn't her motivation.
I think for me, in terms of the Madam Jung's motivation, I think what was the weakest was like her reason to kill
that too.
To kill Goni's master, Goni's teacher,
Pyeong.
Yeah, it was weird because like basically her reasoning was he kind of looked down on her, and he's been doing that for a while, and if he was still alive, he's gonna, you know, take Goni away from her. But I don't know, it just never really felt like
happened, though.
Yeah,
like, that's not
like he was already like not really listening to the teacher anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like he already went to you, and he was already doing stuff with you, right? Like he was already like, you know, doing the gambling stuff with you. So it's not like he.
It was his death that did the opposite of what you wanted.
It was his death that made him like leave and made him trying to figure out what happened,
right?
And so it's kind of that weird like ironic like motivation that she has, but it just totally backfires.
I think like the twist of
weird.
it, I thought like the twist of it was fine. Like, oh, it was actually
Madam instead of Aki.
like it plays to. I mean, it works in like the movie as a whole, like backstabbing and like her words, like the people that you trust most are the ones that backstab you first. Like all that kind of worked for the twist, but it was just her motivation behind it. Like there was no evidence that like supported for her to kill him in the first place.
Yeah, enough for her to like try to kill him.
Exactly. Yeah, because it wasn't even. I think it might have helped a little bit if her motivation was like, I want Goni back in that way, but like it was a complete opposite.
If it was completely like that, but like he was already working with it. That's the thing. Right?
She just did it because she didn't like Pyeong because he like, I don't know, like I said, treated her bad, or probably there was like some backstory that we have no idea about. But like again, we have zero idea of what that is.
I would say that's like the weirdest thing going on there.
Agreed. Even the reveal of it was kind of what I said earlier, where it wasn't even like snuck in that she got caught, where they were sitting at the table and Akui was like, oh, like how's your Pyeong doing, and then she's like the first one to be like, oh, he died, his right hand is missing.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and then Goni's like, how the hell do you know that?
Yeah. Like I heard that and I was like, you gave yourself away so blatantly. Like,
yeah,
we're just moving the story along now. But yeah, that wasn't particularly strong. I would agree.
Did you like understand like the three like best gamblers?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah,
And
that
all
kind
that?
of. So it was like Pyeong, who he trained under.
Yeah.
Then there was 1 year,
Yeah.
and then there was Akui,
Yeah. Jackie and Aki. Yeah.
Jackie and Akui.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Jackie. Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, they're like the best in like different kind of provinces apparently. And then basically, Aki and Jackie played, and then Aki was like, "Give me that wrist and that ear."
Yeah.
And then he's going after, like, Akui is like, "I want Pyeong next," and then Pyeong is like, "I'm not gonna play you."
Basically, yeah. It's weird. Like it's not like it's this weird thing where they're never explicitly they never explicitly need to play each other.
You're right.
And they're not obligated to do anything with each other. But they're just like, hey, if ever there is a moment that happens, I'm gonna beat you.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna know.
Yeah.
Even for like Akui, where it's like his like thing, right, is if I catch you cheating, and I will catch you cheating, like say goodbye to your hand or whatever. He's like, we're gonna bet like your life essentially on it. But then when it comes down to when we see that moment happen, like it's not even his orchestrated game. Like he just puts himself in the game. Like there's no like official rule backing it.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is just how I do things, and this is how it's gonna be if I'm playing.
No, it's how they do things in the underworld. It's the rules of the law. It's the laws of the world. The underworld.
So yeah, it's all like unofficial, officially unofficial.
Unofficially official.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think this movie, it's just like a fun movie to watch. I think like in terms of like, having those kinds of twists happen and that kind of intrigue of, oh, how is he gonna swindle the other people into getting more money?
Yeah.
And there is like this almost like instinctual like attraction towards gambling that people have, I think, right? And just like that possibility of like making a lot of money,
right?
And I think that this movie really kind of taps into all of that and kind of puts it in a very fun way, like having like the three best gamblers and that kind of like
the legends of the land.
Yeah, the legends, and like that cool like arc of this like naive kid, finally like going under the master and learning how to like learning the tricks of the trade and all that.
Gambling movies are just like 1-to-1 hero's journey, because like you have like the kid who maybe learns like under the master here, and there's always like the high and low. Like you're gonna lose money and you're gonna be at the bottom, and then you want to work your way up to the top by trying to gamble it, and it always works. Like here, he gets all the money, and there's like a really high point in his life. You know, he's like rich and
He's
just like
happy.
getting money.
He's finally about to leave the world
Yeah,
of the gambling, and then
but then he like gets blinded and chases more,
yeah,
and then boom, something happens that calls him back to like the gritty, like whatever. You know?
like he loses his loved one or something.
Yeah,
and then it's like my last time I'm gonna ever do this.
Something calls me back.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it works like really well as like storytelling wise. It's pretty attracting.
Yeah.
What did you think of Goni though as a character?
I like him. I liked him
Mm.
as a character. He's very charismatic. The actors, I think, great in this role.
Yeah.
And
The return of Cho Sung-woo. Right?
yeah. And what I liked actually was his interaction with his side character.
Oh, okay.
And just like their playful banter that they have.
Kwang.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot
Kwang.
his name.
I think Kwang was the guy. Yeah.
But the guy with the glasses and
Yeah.
he's like the sidekick.
We're from the same town.
Yeah,
brother.
But we're not.
But we're not.
Yeah, but yeah, I just like their chemistry. Like I think that really made the movie, a lot of the movie work.
Mhm.
Just like even when they first kind of have that meeting when Goni's playing with him, and like the police all come and they're like trying to like block the police from coming in, and they escape through the top.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's like just like leave me alone.
He's watching out. He's like watching out for his own back.
And he's like,
Kwang's
"Yo, my little brother, let's go. We can be a team.
We can be a team.
We can take all the money from."
We both know the tricks.
Yeah.
You know, like
And he's like, "Oh, do you know who I am? I'm a Tazza." And he's like,
wow.
"Oh, you mean like this?" And he like takes the cards out of his ear.
And he's like, we can make it big.
Yeah.
We should team up. You know.
Yeah, but like his comedic relief, I think that's really great.
Right.
Just in general.
You gotta have that naive, like, sidekick.
Yeah. And even like all the stuff with like the coffee house, the little the girls in the coffee
Oh,
place,
yeah.
and like they have
The, like,
like the
romance
double
bit.
date and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. That was funny.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Nice little arc for him.
And just like the fun, like the how they're like drinking in that like coffee house whatever, and the baddies like show up all of a sudden, and they're like hiding in the back and trying to act trying to act chill.
Low key.
Yeah.
Like, bring out the blue label.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh, what's expensive?
Vodka. Bring out the brown.
But yeah, I liked like that chemistry between the two characters.
Yeah, it worked really well.
Yeah.
Goni has like a really big change too. Like, I like the fact that he's like a really naive character in the beginning, and then he really changes to like the charming like swindler type.
Yeah,
he
he's like he has a really big range. That's why I like him as an actor. Like he can play that really naive character, but he can also kind of play that like I'm too cool for you kind of character.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I'm as cool as I
and
know.
and it works. Sometimes when they try to play that off, you're like kind of cringe.
You can feel the fake on it.
Yeah.
Over here it's really good. It's just funny like seeing him from the classic and then to here. It's like all you did was throw on a mustache and then you're like, swing.
I'm a different
dude. Yeah. Just like completely changed personas.
This is 2006, right?
Yeah.
When was classic? 2001 or 2?
I think 1.
Yeah, something like that. So
5 years.
yeah,
It's kind of a big chunk. Is that how long it took him to grow a mustache?
maybe.
Even the guy who plays Kwang, Ju Hae-jin.
Yeah.
Man, that guy's like baby face here. Like he's so young.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been.
Because I see him a lot like newer movies, but he's really young here. Which is kind of funny. Everybody's pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all the characters are really good. Like between Madam Jung.
Madam Jung is from Signal.
Yes.
Movie that
Yeah.
and not the movie drama you like.
Really good drama. Highly recommend.
Yeah. She has a really wide range too,
Mm.
which is pretty cool. And it kind of works too, especially in her character where she like pretends to be like and
Yeah.
pretends to be this like dainty naive girl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
then,
When
and
she's
then
the girlfriend.
and then when she's real, like she's just this like thug.
Yeah. she's the boss girl.
She's just
Girl
like
boss.
a thug.
She's the what is it? The beautiful blade, beautiful knife or something.
Yeah.
Pretty knife. I think that's what they said.
Yeah.
Or the translation was. Yeah, she did pretty good. Even like Pyeong was good. Akui was kind of a cool character, even though there was like 5 minutes of him
Yeah.
in the movie.
I feel like they could have done a little bit more with him.
I think like Jung was kind of a problem for me in what we talked about. Akui, his character is fine, but like everything like surrounding Akui, the fact that he's supposed to be the bad guy, like that never really like came through as it should have been, you know?
Yeah, it's
Like-
not as prevalent. Yeah, like especially in the beginning where you kind of hear about it, right?
Right.
But there's never really like an inciting like incident per se that really makes you feel like, oh, like this guy is the guy like when he needs to beat, right?
Right.
That
I mean,
never
like,
really fully comes out, I feel like.
yeah, I mean, like, it's understood that you obviously assume that he killed Pyeong, like his master, right? It kind of matches up with like the stories of him, and then that becomes Goni's motivation to go
yeah.
after him. But like it's that part that diminishes by the time we get back to Akui.
Yeah, no, but
That-
like even then it's like even Goni like left his master, right? Left his teacher. And so it's kind of like
That's what. Yeah.
it's not as like it's not like, oh, he was learning under his teacher and then he killed him while he was learning under the teacher. And you're like, oh no, my master is
Yeah.
died by your hands, right? It's not like that. He was literally chilling with Madam Zhang and making his money, and then he like hears about him falling off the train and losing his arm.
I just think that like Goni's like direction and like motivation changes a little too often in the movie.
Yeah, like even like after Madam Zhang, he's like, oh no, I'm gonna take the money that I have and just chill with my new girlfriend, right?
Right. Yeah.
And he's just like, okay,
After like a couple seconds of like soul searching.
yeah, and then
like,
he's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, I'm gonna just give my money to like the money that I have to like my sister.
Yeah. Which was like the reason why the movie started.
Yeah.
In the first place.
And so like after that point, you're like, okay, so what's his reason
Yeah.
to do anything now? And then the whole
Yeah.
But
But that's like it's like
dying
he's
and-
like forcibly drawn in to like do what he was supposed to do from the start, right?
Yeah.
Because like, well, one, he started gambling and like learned at Pyeong to pay back his sister and like just to get out of his own debt as well. And then by the time he like starts making money and meets Jung, like then he moves on to something else. Like that's no longer important.
Yeah.
And then once Pyeong dies, he leaves Jung to find Akui to get revenge. And that brings us to like the present time again. But then that gets diminished after we meet like the girlfriend, and then like the accidents happen and he's like, I should just settle down in life. And then we finally pay back the sister, but by that time it's like not that important or that not that significant.
Yeah, like it's not like a big deal. And like there's a bigger rivalry between the smaller fry dude who like was was
under Kwak.
yeah, who was on and he was the one who like was messing with the girlfriend and like making sure like Goni plays with them, or else he's gonna like do bad things to the coffee house and stuff, right?
Yeah.
He felt like more of a rival to Goni.
Yes.
In terms of maybe not their like skill level, but just like the
tension.
how they like pointed the two characters towards each other.
Yes.
Whereas Aki kind of felt like he just kind of fell from the sky, like as a villain. Like we just always knew that he was like this big bad dude of legend, but never really in the story fully.
Right.
And then like at the end, when the master dies and like all that stuff happens, you're like, okay,
He's gonna go after that guy.
yeah,
But then he like kind of gives it up, and then he's forced to like face Akui.
yeah.
by
Even the
end.
reason why Aki like came was because
Kwak died.
Kwak died, but like also like he figured out that his Goni's sidekick, his friend, was like cheating, right? That's like the way that they kind of like drew Goni into meeting him at the end.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's just kind of like forced to kind of come back in.
Exactly.
Because he wanted, but then the reason why Aki was even there in the first place was for Goni because of the sidekick was like, I want revenge on Goni, and he was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. And then like ended up back at that table with the game and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like the real villain was like just this like little guy here that became his rival by the end, who was like, I don't like you because you punched me you broke my nose. So I don't know, it's like too many moving parts in a way that, it's easier if it's like one thing to kind of follow along, but along the course of the movie, there's just so many things that kind of
if you think too much in this movie, you're like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you had just shut off your brain while watching it. None of these problems occurred until I had to go back and kind of review, and I was like, wait a minute. Did Goni even get his car back?
Exactly. Where he like stored all his money for some reason. Yeah. And like the private detective, he like somehow figured that out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, he was ordered to steal the car.
Oh, from Madam Jung?
Yeah.
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 Cause I guess Madam Jung knew already.
She knew. Which was like fine. Like, all right, I kinda get it, but he never got the car back at the end.
You never know.
Maybe. Sequel?
They just don't tell you.
He does end up in America. How did he pay his way over there?
He got the money at the end, remember?
Oh yeah, from the game.
Yeah.
No, but that was in the backpack and it just all fell out, remember?
No, he put some money. Remember? He had like a
sure.
And then he had the backpack money as well.
And that one the backpack money was the one.
He's like, I'm gonna take this amount for something. I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, I'm gonna take this. And he puts it in his clothes and he takes it back. It's like, and he was gonna leave, but then the madam was like talking, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna burn all your money then.
What you say? You want money? Then he went Joker.
All right, then I'm just gonna burn all your money.
He went Dark Knight on her.
I'm gonna leave.
How about this for your money?
Yeah.
And then she shot him. I was like, ooh.
Hey, the weird thing for that like climactic scene too was like the guy. It's basically Aki's like second hand, like right hand man. He has the hammer, right?
Yeah.
He basically hits the hammer down, and then like that's it. we never know what happened to Aki yet.
That I noticed too. Yeah. So wait, but like at the very end because like, Jung is the narrator, right, for the movie.
Madam Jung. Yeah.
Madam Jung, and then they assume that Goni died in the thing, and then she identifies the false body. Whose body was that?
Well, no, she falsely testifies that it's Goni, but that's not Goni.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's the guy who fell with Goni on the train.
Oh,
who was like with the knife.
Oh, okay, fine, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's why when you see the tattoo, that's how you kind of know,
I didn't know that
this is him.
I didn't know that he had that tattoo.
Oh yeah,
that's why. Okay, so it was the rival.
Yeah,
the sidekick guy. Gotcha. Okay, I read that one off.
Yeah.
But
it's just weird because Aki is that big bad dude.
And we don't know anything.
Yeah, just his hand gets blown out, like it just gets hammered, and that's it.
He gets like that one divine justice moment.
Yeah,
loses his own hand, and then that's it. That's all he ever mattered.
Yeah,
in the movie.
I don't remember if he comes out in the second one or not. He might.
I mean, he's still alive.
Yeah, I think he does come out. I forgot though. He might though.
1 year was cool when we met. 1 year.
Yeah.
That was kind of a nice little moment.
Yeah. Where
like
he's
the
playing,
senile little guy.
He's just like playing a game and he thinks like he's winning.
Mm.
And then
he's like, gotcha.
So I can read your heart. Oh, really? Dang.
How do you do that? Tell me how you do it.
Yeah.
I just don't look at him in the eye. I thought he was blind because like the way he was like looking, he's like his eyes are kind of closed.
Yeah.
But now he was just doing his thing.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool if there's a story that they make with the three
Right.
guys, like a prequel of the three dudes.
The real story of
Yeah.
Chucky.
Yeah. And what happened and stuff, you know?
I mean, they kind of incite it, right? He's like, so what happened between you and Akwi? And he's like, I just lost an ear and a hand.
Yeah.
It'll happen to you too.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're a Tazza.
Yeah.
You just gotta accept these things.
If you're in this business long enough,
Fear of this.
you'll eventually lose something.
He saw what happened to Pyeong, right? They got him. They got him too. I know we talked about before when we were like doing the series. If we were were you gonna pick like all three? You're just gonna be like, you know what?
I was saying like that would be so easy to do. You know? I'd just be like, okay, we'll just do all three.
Here you go. That's the series.
Yeah.
Done and done. And then we'll wrap it up with the TV series. All four. Right
Dang.
there.
That would be a lot to watch.
It's probably like a 20 episode series.
21, I think.
21. Yeesh. Oof.
The drama's not that bad either, but obviously it's longer. So
Right.
there's more
dramatized.
like character building, I guess.
Mm.
But there's a lot of fluff too. Naturally.
They gotta keep it going one way or another.
There's a love story in there, a bigger love story thing going on, and they have this thing where I think if I remember correctly, it's more about Goni, and he has like a best friend,
Okay.
and basically they turn into rivals, kind of thing.
Oh,
I think that's part of the story, if I'm not mistaken. But
that sounds interesting. The romance here was kind of mid though.
in this movie,
In this movie.
yeah, I mean it was like whatever, dude. Was it even a romance?
I feel like they really try to like make like the actual girlfriend, not Jung, but
Coffee girl.
Coffee Girl. I had her name written down somewhere.
What's her name again? I forget.
Like Hwang. What? Like fuck. What was it? I had it written down somewhere here.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. But like they like really try to put like, oh, this is the settling down kind of girl. Like,
Yeah,
you know, they
yeah.
had that moment, and like also with like at the climax, right? They used them as like the bait. to,
Collateral,
like,
yeah.
yeah. Like it all kind of felt like a big deal, like important part of his life, but I don't know. It just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end, he's just chilling. And
He like abandons everything. At the end, he's just like, I'm out.
don't matter about his family, don't matter about
Yeah.
his girlfriend, whatever. I'm just gonna do more gambling.
It's just funny that
chilling.
like we started one way with Goni, and then by the end, he's just like, forget that
I'm
life.
chilling, man. I'm chilling.
I got my money at the end of the day, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And I still have all my fingers. That is a good one. I recommend it. Easy to come by. It's a classic. Let's see if the rest of the series lives up.
What is our next movie?
It is The God of Gamblers.
Tazza 2.
That's what it sounds like. Oh, this is the movie that's about the three hot shots. The
God of
gods of gambling.
Oh, is it gods? Or is it
Oh no,
God?
singular god. Let me fix that title for them. Here, hang on. This is definitely yours, 1989.
Not mine, though. I didn't pick it.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
This was a group effort, actually.
Yeah, it was. It was hard to find.
As big as like gambling is in like Asia, particularly like China, there are
Well,
like
it's
hardly any
because like
movies.
we wanted to find like a lot more specifically, just like gambling. Because like
Yeah.
we could find a lot of like heist kind of movies.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
But like making it more specific to like that kind of gambling aspect of it.
Another thing too is
Or like games.
another thing too is interesting is that like I know nothing about the game. Was it Huate?
Huatu.
Huatu? Like, but I still don't know nothing about the game.
Yeah, I mean,
But it did a good job of like incorporating like everything else into it
yeah.
that like really hooked you.
Well, you can just generally get the idea. It's kind of
Right.
like even when you're watching like let's say poker,
Right.
and you don't know how to play poker, you can still get the idea of like, oh, this person's winning, this person's losing.
Yeah, you still understand the tension of
yeah,
the
the
game,
tension,
right?
yeah,
That's
which is important.
right. at the end of the day. So I did a really good job of doing that. But here I feel like it was a little simpler, like 7 points. I got 8 points.
Yeah.
You lose. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, that was pretty good. God of Gamblers is for next week. I have no idea. Directed by Wong Jing. Yeah. And yeah, I've never seen this. I've never heard of this. Same?
Yeah.
Should be surprised.
I think this the one we watched today was the only one that I watched
Oh, okay.
of all the ones in the series.
Oh, that's right. And then I've only seen March Comes in Like a Lion, which would be our last one. Last one, yeah. So next week, the God of Gamblers. I'm gonna say like gambling, but like it sounds like a boss of like the crew versus like the actual game. You know, he's like, I'm in charge of the underworld and like facility. That's what it sounds like it's gonna go to. But we'll figure it out then. Other than that, a quick shout out to our Patreon page. If you want to hear future episodes in advance, a week ahead before anybody else, come and sign up, as well as exclusive episodes and other goodies.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye.